grab a cup of joe and let's gather round that hay bale. With your hosts, Ann from Andale Homestead, Cayce from Ormsby Farms, Monica from Bland's Promised Land Ranch, and Sandi from Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. Here they are. Hey, y'all, hey.
Hey y'all, hey, welcome back into another and final episode of our limited series, the Hay Bale Prepper Guide. It's so sad it's the final episode, but it's going to be a really good episode. I'm Cayce from Ormsby Farm, the Halfway Homestead.
I'm Monica from Bland's Promised Land Ranch.
And I'm Sandi with Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona.
Okay, so if we're in your earbuds and you hear us, or you're just listening while you're walking around, or maybe you're listening while you're driving somewhere and you're in podcast land and you want to see us, we would love for you to come on over to YouTube, where we are also in YouTube world, and you can see our faces and you can see the props, because I know for sure that this episode is going to be filled with different showcases, things that we have to show you. And so head on over to YouTube at some point and check out all the things that we've got to show you for this episode. Speaking of this episode, Sandi, what is this episode about?
Well, it's a fun episode, and we got so much. We could probably talk for 3 or 4 hours about these topics. We're going to talk about first aid, herbal skills, which may go back and forth in that with the first aid, and sanitation. That's something that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it's something you need to talk about. Mm-hmm. And it is the number 6 of our series. And so mixed emotions, but so much information. And even if you haven't bought the Hay Bale Prepper Guide yet, still buy it. You can go back and watch our other episodes, and then you can take the notes and you can add so that you are ready for basically anything.
Right.
So first topic, first aid. Now, Cayce, you're thinking about first aid. You're on your homestead. What if you had to leave? What if you have to stay? What do you have for first aid?
I think, what I have is a little jumbo pile of stuff that I really need to get organized. One, as we're shooting this episode, I'm thinking about it, I'm like, Cayce, you really have got to get your stuff organized. And the good thing is, Sandi did mention, if you haven't got the Hay Bale Guide, there is a part in there where you can get yourself organized and write down what you have. Now, one thing that I like to always have in my first aid kit that I always take with is hydrogen peroxide. I use hydrogen peroxide to clean wounds, but I also use it to clean toothbrushes before it goes back into my mouth. So that's kind of like one of my must-haves. But I think especially what we have on the list, and I did not know how good honey was, but that's for the later on in the episode, how honey was such a very important part of a first aid kit. But what I have personally, Cayce, Ormsby Farm with the Halfway Homestead, is a jumbled mess of a lot of stuff that I should organize. Monica, what about you?
You know what? I actually have a couple little mini bags. I have drawers right in my house where if I tell my kids to go grab something, they will go to the homeopathy drawer. They will go to my medicinal drawer. If my kids need to get some different creams and things, they'll go there. And then I have a whole different area for oils. It's important to know too, that if you have oils and you have homeopathy, you should keep them separate. That the oils the scents can actually counteract and affect your homeopathy. So it's important to keep your homeopathy separate from a lot of those really strong scented items. So I just keep them separate. I keep my homeopathy in one space and my oils in another place. But I do have a bunch of containers and easy to grab things if I needed to leave or whatever. I'm going to have a bunch of oils in one container, and then I'm going to have a bunch of homeopathy that I take with me or that we have ready on hand. I've got calendula oil that we made last year in our challenge that we did, where we made our own oils and made our own different infused oils. I've got that. I've got my arnica cream that I get from Amazon each month. And then I've got a bunch of oils that I buy for myself and just different things that I use. So I'm going to use as many crunchy meds as possible, or, crunchy alternatives as possible. So I've got a plethora of things in there
She's
for our, yeah, I've got a lot in there. So, but I don't have to just make it myself. I buy it at the store too. But I do have a lot of medicinals in there, and for my first aid. But I think first aid's also about skills too, right? I mean,
Mhm.
you gotta know how to do some things. And I think one of the things that we Andy is that yarrow is great for like bleeding, right?
Yeah.
And one of the skill shares that we did a couple years ago, we had a lady come in, and Jake from Nunya, Texas, in the back 20, he came in and he was showing us his bag and all the things he has, from first aid to just different security things and everything. But we had a lady come in alongside of him, and she went into some of the first aid stuff. And it was interesting because she said, you need to know how to stop bleeding. And I was like, oh my gosh, I always thought first aid was just the Heimlich maneuver and CPR, and
Right.
Band-Aids, right? I never thought I've got to know how to stop bleeding. Like, you can't just Band-Aid it, you need a tourniquet. That's something that I recently acquired, and you need to know how to stop bleeding. And it's good to know you have medicinals out there that can help stop bleeding and do those
Yeah.
things. So,
They in the Civil War, World War One, into World War II, they used yarrow to stop bleeding on the battlefield. And so don't discount those herbal things that grow in your gardens that you enjoy in your gardens, but you can also save those things and use them as your first aid. Now, you got to have some reference books. You just have to, you know. The internet may not be there. you know, you
true.
you could have a power thing, and even if it's only for a few days, you may need something. And if you rely too much on your computer and your phone, it could be devastating, actually. So
Right.
this is one of my favorite reference books. It's not a herbal book, and I'll show you some of my herbal ones I like. But this is the American Medical Association Handbook of First Aid. Um, you can order it. You can get it all over the place. Your library probably has it, but it has great sections. The ABCs of CPR. You know, um, if something's a situation, it gives you what to do right then, and then it'll go into continued care. So it's just not that 5-second thing right then. It'll also tell you things to do later. And I think you need in your library, because all homesteaders and preppers should have their own library. um, which medicines I can grow in my backyard, which herbal medicines I can grow, what I can do with herbal medicines. I think it's important to have that knowledge at your fingertips. And Monica and I were talking earlier that she has a lot of books, but she needs what, Monica? What do you need with those books?
a home for them. You have a lot of things, and sometimes you need a home for, like, I need storage. I need
Yeah.
a bookshelf that's dedicated right to them, because we were talking, if there was an emergency or if there was something, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a book for that.
Mhm.
My kids would be like, well, where is it, Mom? You know what? It's under that right corner of my bed. Nope. You know what? It's over there on the other side next to where Dad sleeps, but probably underneath of my 31 bag that had my stuff in it from last year. Like, I can't do that. It
Right.
needs a home.
It does. And as Sandy said, every good homesteader should have a little library. And I have to say, one thing, especially we did, me, Sandy, Monica, and even Ann did a video on herbal medicine. We did a collab. I'll link it in the description and stuff if you want to find out more about the herbal medicine side. Because, I mean, we could go down a rabbit hole on herbal medicine on this, and you wouldn't learn anything else but that. But Sandy talked about this one book, and it was so funny because me and Ann, literally, as we're shooting, we're on Amazon ordering it. And this is the love of my life. For you have it too, Monica? Did you order it too during that same time?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then beyond that, I bought one, I think, for my
You got
daughter-in-law.
the volume
And then
too, right?
my daughter bought the second part for her sister-in-law for her best friend for her birthday. So my daughter-in-law actually has part 1 and part 2. She has both of them.
So this is especially good to know all the different parts of the plants and what they're used for. And even Sandi probably can go into a little bit deeper of how amazing this book is. But if you had I just flipped open to depression. It gives you a plant that you could use and what it's used for. It gives you the taste of it, what to use, what it helps. I mean, it is just the be all end all, in my opinion. This is my opinion of herbal stuff. And I was so excited to buy it and start my homestead library because of Sandi. So I'm blending all of my last couple of bills on Sandi of herbal books. I decided
the nice thing about that book and his series of those books is that they have a section under each herb or vegetable, because there's a lot of vegetables you can use that are great for first aid too, of cautions. If you're taking this medicine, don't take this herb. And rarely do you see that in an herbal book. And so I just really appreciated the work that he did to put those books together.
Yeah, because it's a hefty book. This is not just some little table magazine or coffee table book. This is a bigot. She's a bigot, and
It's
she's
very detailed. Yeah, a lot of good information. Very detailed book. That's for sure.
While we're talking about herbals and stocking those in your first aid kit, I wanted to say that when I was doing some research on this, I, like most people probably would, top 5 things that you should have. I Googled top 5 things that you should have in your homesteader first aid kit. And I would have never thought it, but number 3 was honey.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that, Sandi? I mean, we all know it tastes good, but why exactly should you have honey in your first aid kit?
Oh, it's so healing. It like if you had a cut, you could literally put honey on it to help it heal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it works not just on you; it will work on your pets. It will work on your trees. It just has so many great things. Now, one thing about honey. Honey will cost you money. Cheap honey has things added into it. So don't think you're going to get a bargain.
No.
You know, if you can get honey locally, it has all those pollens and all the different things that from the plants. And so a lot of times when people have allergies, they will take a tablespoon of honey every single day all year round. And after about a year, all of a sudden, those allergies get less and less and less. And that's those healing properties in the honey. And it's giving you that little shot every single day. And your body goes, okay, this is how I fight that pollen. And there's beekeepers all over the country. And it's not just the honey, it's basically every part of that hive. There's some kind of goodness from the wax to bees make this. How can I explain it? They don't want extra air coming into their hive, and so they can seal up all the cracks. That part that they're sealing is actually good for you too. It's just like amazing. I mean, they make royal jelly for the queen, which is good for you. People have bees sting them on purpose because it helps with arthritis. It's crazy what a bee can do for you.
That's unbelievable. I had to do it. Yeah?
Very nice.
But also I saw, especially for diabetics, that having honey in there, if you're getting a low sugar drop,
Yeah.
a little bit of a taste of honey will bring that up too. So I mean, there's so many different ways. So I found that really interesting that was one of them. I'll just read off a couple of what Google, whoever they is that wrote this, said, but honey was one of them. It said antibiotic ointment. Now, we have had videos on calendula and oil. And Monica has talked about that she was going to, I don't know, have you made it into your butters and your salves yet, Monica?
Not yet, but I actually need to because my daughter's been just bugging me. She's like, Mom, we need to make more fat face cream, like the tallow cream. We make tallow lotion for the face. And I had infused it with calendula the one time. And so, yeah, we're going to make some more of that soon. So I have infused calendula into some other body butters, but I've not made just a calendula salve or anything like that. But we put calendula oil straight on our stuff.
But also oregano. I mean, me and Sandy was talking about before. I was really super excited because I felt homesteady. That August 2nd, will be the first time that I made an oregano tincture, which is your natural antibiotic that I use a lot. But infusing the oregano into an oil, whether that's avocado oil, whatever oil you want to use, putting that into it. I used to put the oregano oil into my bars of soap when I made soap bars. And you have an antibacterial soap that you're using to wash your hands. The oregano is just so good. So when you see antibiotic ointment, that doesn't mean that you have to go to CVS or Walgreens. If you are, I think as Monica calls it, a crunchy mom, and you want to do more holistic stuff, that's a way to do it. Sterilized water was one of them. Now we had a whole episode 2. If you want to, after you finish this episode, go back. Having sterilized water would be a good one. Bandages. We just talked about Mullen, about how good that is. If you want to be the crunchy mom and not buy the stuff from the store, there's a good one. And pain medication. I wanted to get back to pain medication. So we all know the CVS pain medication. Sandy, what are some good ones that we can do crunchy mom pain medication in our first aid kit?
Well, anything with yarrow can be really good for that. Arnica is a good, and I mean, Monica buys her arnica, but you could grow it depending on where you lived in the United States. And so that you can make salves that would be very good, that would help you. I grow this plant. It's called a toothache plant. And when you bite into it, it makes your mouth numb, right? They used it for toothaches. It grows naturally in Central and South America, but you can grow it even in Wyoming. You start it in the springtime, and it makes these beautiful plants. Well, the flowers are the part that's the most numbing. So I made a tincture out of the flowers. I popped the flowers off and I made a tincture. And Joe sometimes will get sore muscles from golfing or just because he's 70. It just happens. And so he can take that tincture and literally rub it onto his shoulder or his calves or whatever's hurting, and it will absorb through his skin. Now I could take that and I could make a salve out of that too.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm excited because I have a toothache tincture that I made several months ago. And that was a long more timer than I should have left it in there, but it's still in there and I can drain that, like strain it. And now I'm thinking, I think I want to add that to some of make a little tallow butter, some sort of, cream for some of our, injuries.
Well, I think both of y'all talked about it. Monica, you did, because I ended up buying the seeds literally right after you talked about the toothache plant. Because anybody that follows me know, I religiously, even knock on wood, religiously have tooth issues. And that was one of the reasons that I had decided that I personally, I'm not recommending it for anybody, but I personally started doing the oregano tincture because I felt that it was helping me instead of taking antibiotics all the time. I also saw that for pain, back in the day, it was a good old nice little bottle of bourbon that was in there too. And those who follow me know that I probably have a small little bottle in my first aid kit for that. But to have this toothache plant and to know that you can use the flowers, make the tinctures, now that I'm a professional after making one, make the tincture and then add it into some salves. I mean, that's like having an all natural. What is the one that smells so awful that you rub on your back and the muscles?
Icy
Uh,
hot.
Icy hot. Having kind of like your own kind of, you feel very
Mhm.
steady, very
Well,
crunchy.
with the toothache plant, it's not just the flowers. The leaves are edible. And so there's a lot of chefs around the world now that will add the leaves into their salads or into the meal that they're making because
Mm.
it gives you this weird tingly sensation while you're eating it.
Yeah.
Now, one of the reasons I love growing it is just because I love people's reaction and I'll say, "Try this flower." My one son-in-law said, "Are you trying to kill me here?" Because his whole mouth was numb. And
Yeah.
because sometimes as a homesteader, you just got to have some fun with those things that you
Yeah.
grow.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We were just talking to some homestead friends a couple weeks ago, and they said the same thing. They said there was a family over, and it was our friend Carmen. Her son was there, and she said, "Oh, what's this?" And he took a little flower off of the toothache plant, put it in his mouth, and she was like, "Okay," and he was like, he starts drooling everywhere, and so she let him take some of that plant home with him, and they, I guess, propagated it, repotted it, whatever it was.
Mhm.
And he couldn't wait to trick everybody that was coming, asking him, "Hey, do you want to try this? Hey, you need to try this. Hey, you need to try this." He couldn't wait to trick all his friends and all his family members to try to get them to eat a little chunk of the toothache plant. So,
Yeah.
get have a little
It,
fun.
it does increase your saliva. And in
Mm.
Mhm.
certain situations, that could be a good thing.
Yeah.
So that it's just a great plant to grow. I mean, it
Mhm.
is a perennial when it's like for me to grow it in Arizona, I would have to do it in the afternoon shade, but they could have the morning sun and it would grow continuously.
That's cool. That's so cool. Okay, so we want to talk about one more thing with all this. We got first aid, some first aid stuff. We talked about herbal skills, but we need to talk about sanitation.
Mhm.
I
Keep
think
it
it's something
exciting.
that people forget about sometimes. And now, when it comes to different sanitation things, when everything was going crazy and everybody was buying all the toilet paper that was left in the whole world back in 2020, I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do if there's no toilet paper? Like, this is my normal Costco week. Like, like that's the thing. So, what do I do? And I looked into family cloth. I'm like, well, I can do this. I mean, shoot, cut up a bunch of old cotton shirts and, be using family cloth. That was one of the things I thought for sanitation wise for, my kids. And how would we handle that? Well, I have an old diaper pail that I just kept after the kids were gone, and out of their, out of their cloth diapers, I could use a diaper pail, and then I can hand wash and do what I need to do. Okay, that's one way. That's one way I can do it. And, I know how to do that part of it because I used to do cloth diapers all the time. So I figured, okay, it's going to be very similar. But beyond that part of it, what do you do? How do you deal with sanitation for, prepping or just preparing in any way?
Yeah, well, like we we have 5 gallon buckets, but we bought a seat that will fit onto a 5 gallon bucket just to make it easier when you have to do your stuff. So one thing I think you should have is fine sawdust. Just because it's very much more clean. You do your business, you put sawdust down. Somebody else does their business, you put the sawdust down. And then you can choose because some people will compost that, some people won't compost that. That's up to you. But there are leaves that you can use for toilet paper. Now, Casey, do you know any leaves that you can use for toilet paper?
I don't.
Hey, now there could be things that grow right on your homestead. Probably the two number one and two is mullein. The leaves are very soft. They're very pliable.
See,
They're
that's
not.
just another reason for Mullen right there, Sandy. It's like
Yeah,
I mean, it's been in every one of the three of the topics that we've talked about. So right now, you should be writing in your notes, buy Mullen seeds.
right.
So continue.
Lamb's ear.
Oh,
If you haven't ever grown lamb's ear, it's very soft. It's not irritating to your skin. But some things that you might not have thought of is you could use grape leaves, you could use cabbage leaves, or if you live in a place that they grow thimbleberry, those leaves are different than like a raspberry. Raspberries have kind of abrasive part of their leaves, where a thimbleberry is very smooth. And so you could use that. But you could try any leaf that you have around, but you don't want to put it on your bottom without testing it in case one, you're allergic to it, or it's just an irritant leaf. So
Right.
if you rub it or wrap a cloth around with a leaf right here on your wrist, the inside of your wrist, and leave it there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And if your skin doesn't react within 24 to 48 hours, it's probably pretty safe for you to use as toilet paper.
That
Because
is
the idea of not having toilet paper is just beyond what my brain can fathom.
Yeah.
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 I will say that during that time that we were talking about when everybody was buying up the toilet paper, I was buying up yeast, which I probably should have been buying up the toilet paper. But when I also think of sanitation, I'm thinking of cleaning products. How am I
Hmm.
cleaning certain things? And I have gotten into the rabbit hole of cleaning with vinegars, whether it's your
Right.
counter and all that kind of stuff. And vinegars are stuff that you can make on your homestead. Again, I bring it back if you want to be that crunchy mom. This is a way for you to have some kind of cleaning supplies that you can continually have on your homestead.
Yeah.
Because once you have that one mother that you've created on whatever vinegar that you've done, kombucha. By the way, if you want to hear more about vinegars and kombucha, leave us a comment because we've been kind of playing around with the idea about doing those episodes. But once you have that mother, you're able to create all of these different vinegars that you then can use as cleaning supplies and get rid of the bacteria. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And if
another,
you have, oh, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
Just if you have access to apples,
mhm.
Oh,
even if you don't have a mother, you can make the original apple cider vinegar, and it will make its own mother. Just
Yeah,
so for people out there that are going, well, I don't have a mother. How can I make vinegars then? You can
yeah.
do it.
you can.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I did
Monica.
it
No,
with,
you're good.
I was going to say I did it with pear scrap. Is how I started.
Hmm.
When I got vinegars, is where I got my mother. Is you start with all the scraps that you're either going to compost or give to the chickens anyways, the peels, the core, and I filled it up, water, sugar, you let it sit for a while where it's venting with a coffee filter on the top. I don't have it off the top of my head of exactly when you're going to just discard the amount that was in there. And then you let it sit and you're going to see this. It looks like a jellyfish inside of your
Hmm.
vinegars, and you're thinking, ew, gross, I have to toss this out. No, don't do it. Don't do it. That's good. Jellyfish is good. Don't throw away. So I wanted to say that before Monica went into it. Is very easy. Even I've done it. Keep your jellyfishes.
You be saying it's so easy, but I've only grown mold vinegar and I've tried like a handful of times and I cannot start my own vinegar. So that's a skill that I need to build for sure. But I like what you're saying about the cleaning supplies and all that. I think that's great. Another thing for like, let's just say you don't have access to toilet paper or you don't be having those leaves around, when you have babies, like me, you had a lot of babies, they actually do these things called peri bottles. And it was one of the things that I thought about when 2020 hit. I thought, well, worst case scenario, I don't have a lot of extra, cloth or whatever. If I have some of those water bottles that I can spray, and they have these peri bottles that you can literally spray on your bum, spray everywhere. That'll give you a way to clean yourself off. So if you have some water, and if you listen to our water catchment and our water storage, I know you've stored up some water. You get some of that water that you've canned up or whatever off your pantry shelf, and you keep it in your bathroom, and then you have ways to, or you take it outside, whatever you do, you have ways to clean your body off too, and kind of pat if you need to pat yourself off. But a water will do it if you need to. I'm not saying run the hose on your bum, but water will also help if you don't have the plants that are ready available too. Squeeze bottles, water bottles. But yeah, I mean, I love the vinegar idea. I think that's phenomenal. I need to make vinegar. Because even yesterday we were trying to clean the windows and my mom said, why don't you just get some vinegar and water? And I was like, well, how much is the ratio? She's like, I don't know. Just do like a third of vinegar and like double the water. And I'm like, okay. And my son went and took a, cloth and washed all the windows down with his vinegar water solution, and they look great.
Yeah,
They
and
look perfect.
sometimes I think we think that if we're in a bad situation, oh, it's okay to not wash up for days and days. That is not okay. Now,
No,
one, you'll be the smelly guy.
Yeah.
That's not
you
good.
don't want to be that.
But more important than that, all of a sudden your body is harboring um, the beginnings of disease
Yeah.
and UTIs and just all kinds of stuff that just snowball. And
Yeah.
so sanitation is just so important, you know. Um, it's just like you got dogs around your house, you better be picking that up. Even
Yeah.
when things are bad, you better be picking that up,
Yeah.
disposing of that because things, it's like a snowball effect, and you don't want your family sick,
Yeah.
No.
and you don't,
Yeah.
want to be the smelly guy.
What, and also, I
Oh,
think the thing that would put it into perspective for me is, um, I think when I have my big 5 gallon waters that I use for my chickens, okay, let's just say every single time, all you're doing is just putting more water in it, and you never give it a good wash,
Right.
um, or put vinegar in it. What are you going to see? It's going to start growing that algae. It's going to start looking really
yeah.
nasty. That's what your body's going to be like.
Yeah.
Give her a little bit of scrubby dub dub, okay? Just a little bit. Even if you're out of water, you can, as Monica said, we're storing up water. That's one of the good reasons of having the canned water. Pop that open. You have a little rag. Give yourself, I'm not going to say what my mom used to say to me and my brother about the areas to clean when we were teenage boys, because we're a family show.
Yeah.
But same way that you would take care of your chicken waterers and
Mhm.
wash it down every once in a while, and then put a little bit of vinegar in there to kill certain
Yeah.
bacteria and algae, do that to your body. Sanitation is key. You don't want to get sick, but if you
Yeah.
do, you have all these skills now from first aid and the herbal medicines. And I think sanitation is the best topic to kind of end on for our 6-part series, because it has been a wonderful 6 series that I hope that you all have learned too that are listening in. And again, like Sandi said before, if you haven't already, head over to our Etsy store, and it's 99 cents, y'all. It is an 87-page guide. I'm going to hold mine up that I have open, that you can listen back to all of our episodes while you can, while there is still electricity or internet. Take notes. Have your preparations in a book that you can grab and go. We've talked about having your libraries and about being prepared. This is a great way to make sure you have everything in one place from all the 6 episodes. But we really appreciate y'all coming in and listening to us. If we've missed anything that you think we've missed, leave it in the comment section below. But definitely come in tomorrow on Tuesday, because we have our Hey Y'all Hey Live radio show. And you can come in and tell us live, hey, Monica, you forgot something. And then we can answer it then. And she'll be more than happy to answer it. But
Maybe. Maybe
maybe,
not.
maybe not. But if you also have followed us along for all 6 episodes and you've taken notes, leave us down below. We'd love to hear what you have learned from this series. What have you learned? What did you know now that you didn't before? Because I know there's a bunch for me. But I just am so excited that y'all came in. And I want to say thank you to Sandi. She was off for a while. She came back for this limited series. And it is such a breath of fresh air to have her back, because she is a wealth of knowledge on this. And I don't know if y'all saw, I was taking notes as we were doing it. But we are so grateful to have Sandi back. If you're wanting more of these type of episodes and with Sandi, leave also that in the comment section, because then we can be like, hey, Sandi, go look at that comment. That means you got to come back for an episode. But we will see y'all on the next week's episode. We're getting back to regular programming of pre-recorded episodes next Monday. I think it's Jelly. But we will see y'all next week. And again, thanks for coming in. And until then, stay prepared, and bye, y'all. Bye.